right, we're live. We're live. Let me type a comment in here for you. Howdy, folks. We are live. Welcome to Faulkner Fixes All. It's May 23rd, 7:30, as promised, and we're going to start working on this freshly powder-coated 1971 Schwinn Varsity. This didn't come in this color. Colors for 71 were kind of bleak. Cardinal red. No, you couldn't get cardinal red. Sky blue, campus green. There was just some bunk campus colors. Anyway, this is custom and it's going to be my bike. So, I'm going to do what I want. And it's looking pretty fly. We got the protectors, little protector things on there. When you get a really nice bike and you're working on it, go to Lowe's and get some of this pipe insulation. It's like $4. You don't want anything happening to this beautiful frame. All right, let's put this emblem on there. And hey, Larry, how's it going? Howdy, Larry. And howdy, Randy. I know Larry's from out east. I forgot where Randy's from. I think it's the Midwest or Michigan. Anyway, let's get this emblem on here right now. Like right now. Yeah. Very first thing we're going to do is put this emblem on here. Now, I brought this emblem to the powder coater, and he said he could get it close, and he tried. He really tried, I must say. He tried. It's close. And I'm going to give him an A- because, well, he was a day late. Anyway, let's get this on. He wasn't late for you guys, though. He was not late for you. He was late for me. I had to go down there and get it, and it wasn't ready. And it's a fair distance away. If you looked at one of the videos, it's a good 35 minutes from my house. There is another place to get it done in Asheville, but they kind of suck. And talk about high prices and long waits. And that's those guys. Anyway, we won't mention any names. But these guys down in Fairview, we'll put the final tighten on that in a second. I've done some railings for neighbors. I've welded some railings. And they've always done a really good job. And they're pretty much on time. This time it seemed like he was a little swamped. It was him and his dad, and it's a two-man show, so I can't really complain too much. They're only a day late. And there was another bike. This guy was a guy that makes custom frames. Had a bike in there as well. And it was kind of ahead of this one. So yeah, get happy. Okay, that is looking fly. And this actually is dated 141 day of 72. Yeah, so it's not quite the right, we're not doing right stuff here. It's all custom. Anyway, it's on. It's good. It's not perfect. Let's move on and let's put the forks in like now. Turned out nice, eh? Sweet. Did I put that on upside down? Actually, I have done that before. Anyway, hey, Steve Malone, present and accounted for, and Midwest Relics. Oh, yeah, I thought Randy was from Midwest for some reason. Hey, Midwest Relics. It's going to be a fat one, man. This is a nice build. Turned out really nice. Definitely not a Schwinn stock color, but I don't care. It's really nice. We do have this one grip. I have one. It's a little less oranger than that, but I think it's going to be good. Anyway, if anybody has one of these, it looks like a stingray grip, actually. Let's hold it up to another one. Maybe it's not a stingray grip. If you have a red grip this hue, let me know. I only have one. I hate to have to buy a set on eBay, but I will if I have to. Anyway, yeah, let's get the race in. So as you can see over here, I got a bunch of parts. Let's walk you over here for a second. I don't think it'll get that glitchy. We kind of got everything lined up here. I'm going to use this style on the top because I love these. They're awesome with the smaller bearing and the water shedding top race action. I think the Varsities did come with this for this year. Although during testing, I just had some whatever I had laying around. But I did find one of those. I got some nice bearings. We got some pretty nice, decent condition stuff. Anyway, let's get cracking. We got stuff to do. We got to pound these races in. I did cheat a little bit. I put the bottom races in already. You guys have seen me do that many times, so it wasn't like we cheated that much, you know. I did pound those in. And there was some stuff left over. If you get a bike from the powder coaters, let me put this, I'll talk and work at the same time. If you get a bike from the powder coaters, if you don't have compressed air, bring it somewhere that has compressed air and blow it out really good. Not too much sand and grit came out of this area. That would be the most prevalent. That would be the most problem. But in the back here, there's little weep holes in the back when the frame is made. And I blew some stuff in these little holes right here. And a lot of sand did come out. Now, fortunately, it doesn't connect to this tube. This is on Huffy's. I think this is open. That's their problem. Anyway, but you blow through here, and some grit and sand came out. And these other weep holes right here do connect to the crank area. It is hollow. It is through there because it's welded here. Make sure you blow the sand out. Like they just, at the powder coaters, they just do it a quick whammy. Make sure you blow air here, up in there, up through that tube, through these holes. And these ones didn't matter as much because there's nowhere for the sand to go. But you don't want sand to be trapped in there and blow up in here. You know, just get the sand out if you can. And if you don't have compressed air, go somewhere like a gas station or, I don't know, go somewhere and borrow some compressed air. All right, we're going to put this one in. It's a nice new top water shedding style. It's not new, but it's look, there's a little crack in that. Oh no, it's just a paint chip. Yeah, it's in good shape. It's new to me. It's going in. There we go. I'm looking for gaps right here. I'm looking for an air gap, and there's not. And we'll just give it one more for good luck. Oh yeah, that's the sound you want to hear. Now there's no sand in here. I blew it all out. I was very anal about that. Let's put this back on. I hate to have to chip this and start crying. Let's see a grown man cry. Okay. Here's the bottom one we're going to use. It's in pretty good shape. We could give that a quick steel wool dust-a-rooney or even some. You could get the foil technique. Yeah. So yeah, how's everybody doing? Let's see who we got here. Oh yeah, is that Michael Carr? Was that your rat rod bike? I just had a quick second to look at him. I've been super busy today getting ready for this and doing some other. I had to repair this person's desktop and stuff. I mean, not their computer. It was a desk, a folding wooden. Yeah. Anyway, on a Saturday when I wanted to get ready for the feed, I had to be Mr. Johnny Fix It. Anyway, yeah. So that was your rat rod build with those red wheels. It looked pretty cool. The frame was like an older straight bar of some sort. Yeah, that was cool. Let's see. Eric Dalequist, have you ever spray painted bike frames? Yes, I have. There is a video about the Huffy when I was making. I still haven't finished that bike. Yes, many times, especially when I had a bike shop in Berkeley. I was doing a lot of custom fade jobs. But lately, I've just been trying to find ones in good shape and just go with the paint on that because it's such a crime to spray over Schwinn patina. Now you guys voted on this one, so it's on you. Everybody had a vote to keep this one yellow. Look back in the videos. And okay, the foil technique worked pretty good. And everybody voted, and it was pretty close, but red powder coating won. So it's on you. All right. All right, let's pop this one in. Now I'm going to use the hammer sideways just for a second to get that full action. And when you get it close, put your hand on there and just kind of bring it home. I can see air on this side though. Yep, looks pretty good. We're checking it out here, and I can see a little air there. There we go. Yeah, the sound changed. If you probably can't hear that, but when you really drive it home and there's no air gap, the sound changes. All right, let's get you over here closer. Looking good, man. Yeah, this is gonna look fine. I cleaned all these parts today. Yeah, if I hadn't had to go deal with that person's desktop, what am I, a furniture repairman? No, I build bikes. Okay. All right, here's the fork. And we did find a crown for it. We found this nice one, and I used some aluminum foil on that for quite some time. And we got a nice, decent race on there. Now, I had to sand this masking tape stuff off of here. They don't have anything that goes in here in clamps. I was going to loan them something. But what they do is they wire it, and then they tape it with masking tape. And the masking tape burns on here because it's powder coating. It heats it up, and it's just a weird system they got. You think they would put a hook through one of these holes, or I don't know, you think they would do something different. They get an A-. They were a day late. Okay, so this is ready. I'll show you the chrome piece I didn't use. This one was the second choice. And we can polish on that a little bit with the aluminum foil, and I'll show you how it works. But the first choice was a little better. All right, so we'll, that's a pretty rough little area right here, as you can see, especially on that little tip. And we'll put some water on this. And we'll just give it a little action so you guys can see what to do. My buddy Fred taught me about the aluminum foil. It works really good. Like, you don't scratch. The aluminum is lighter. It won't really scratch the chrome, whereas quadruple aught steel will scratch the chrome. It builds up like this gray pasty stuff, and that's what you want to see. You want that. So the aluminum oxide acts as an abrasive, and the aluminum itself is softer than chrome. So you're not going to have any problem scratching the chrome. The only problem he has is that this takes a long time, and we need to be building this bike. So I'll just do a little sample piece for you. That's the problem. Yeah. Okay. Let me wipe that off and get you in on that. All right. So what the 20 seconds of that? Yeah, 20 seconds. And you can see up in there, that's a lot shinier. I couldn't get pressure on that, but I got the pressure right there. And that was like, what, 25 seconds, and me being a jabberjaw, and it's shinier. You know, it did better than what's going on there. Okay, let's get to work. All right, let's put some grease on this bottom cup, and we're going to shove the forks through, and we'll put some grease on that top holder and spin it in. Man, I got to buy some more grease. I work on way too many bikes. I got to stop working on these bikes. It's just too much. I'll never stop. It's in my blood. I'm like a bike pirate. Who am I kidding? I'll be working on bikes when I'm 90 years old. I don't know about riding bikes when you're 90, but I'll be working on them. Okay. I remember when you used to have to pedal your bike. Yeah. Uphill both ways. All right, that's good. We got this Schwinn bearing. I know it's Schwinn because it's kind of marked with numbers and stuff. It's really beat. And here's some reproduction ones, and they look in better shape. I'm going to try this reproduction one, even though it's not Schwinn. There's not much difference. The reproduction one has a slightly fatter cage and no markings on it. We're going to try this one just because it's newer. If it doesn't feel right, I'll put the Schwinn one in, but we're going to try this one. Here's the difference between the two different styles. Like this skinny style for the top, it's a smaller, skinnier bearing. And the bottom ones with the cones, it's a bigger, thicker bearing. There's the thick one. There's the thin one. You can see the difference there. This is the thin one. And this only goes on this style on the top. And these are the bottom ones. Usually the bottom ones are this way. Okay, so when we go, we'll peel some of that I just shoved up in there back on the bearing. Peel it down and get it back where it goes. I want that nice and juicy. All right, let's put some grease on this baby. Yeah. So the Varsity was made from 51 to 86. And it went through a lot of different changes. It wasn't always a 10-speed. In fact, 51, the first Varsity in 51, looked basically like a Traveler, like one of the Travelers over there. Just an upright bar, 3-speed, maybe a 2-speed kickback, maybe even a coaster brake. No, I think the Varsity always had gears. All right, so let's pop this in. Here we go. And then skipped a year, 52, there was no Varsity, believe it or not. And then 53 to 59 was just an ordinary Traveler looking 3-speed with Varsity on the chain guard. Upright bars, did not have drop bars. Okay, we're just going to put this on here and let it sit there and be all nice. And then in 1960, the Varsity came out with drop bars and 8 speeds. And let me tell you, when you find one of those babies, there were some money. If you find one of those, there were some dough. Then in 1961, it was still an 8-speed drop bars. And then in 1963 was the first, here we go, was the first 10-speed Varsity, was 1963. That was the very first year for Schwinn Varsity with 10 speeds, but it still had the 26 by 1.25 inch tires. It did not have the 27-inch tires. It wasn't until I got a little cheat sheet here. It wasn't until 62 was the first 10-speed. I'm sorry. 62 was the first 10-speed. And 63 was the first 10-speed with 27-inch tires. So those 2 years from 1960 to 62, you had speeds and drop bars, but you had 26-1.25 inch S5 tires, which, you see a Varsity nowadays, it's like, wow, it's got to have 27-inch tires or 700C. So yeah, that was interesting. And then, it just went through the years as basically Schwinn's little workhorse. It was a 27-inch wheel bike, lots of fancy colors in the 60s. Orangish red was probably not one of them. Hey, this is my bike. I can do what I want, right? All right, so this feels really good. I think we're going to leave that reproduction bearing in there. It feels really good. I don't have that special washer right now. This one is damaged. The peg is damaged on this. I don't have one with a peg. What I do have is this center pull I do have this center pull thing, and it does have a decent peg on it right there, but I've decided not to use center pull on this bike. I don't want anything extra up here to take away from this beautiful emblem in this color. There'd be a wire running through there. I'm not going center pull. And if I don't go center pull and I do want gears, I'd have the space here to get a 5-speed, uh, 5-speed stick, the regular 5-speed, like on this copper tone bike over here. I just get another one of these right here. And with that spacing, since I'm not using this, and I could find a 5-speed paddle, that's a Schwinn part. Then if I decide to have gears, I can have 5 or 6 gears on the back. I said I wasn't going to go gears and I was going to go center pull. I've decided against that. I want gears, but you know what? I think I'll let you guys vote. What we'll do is we'll do a vote. This is going to be a long-term project. I'm not even close to getting this on the road. So we'll do a vote. I'm thinking 700C, 6 speeds, just a regular one in the front and 5 to 6 in the back, and the paddle right here. Now, if I do center pull with this, there won't be room on the fork. There won't be room. If I put this on here, and then I think I'm going to put another piece on there as well, even without the washer, there won't be enough threads to put the retaining nut on the top. So that's something to think about. So what am I going to do? Well, we're just going to put this damaged washer on for now. I know I'm going to get back into this. This is, it's just a washer with a bad peg. I'm just going to put that on there for now until I do something crafty. And I'll show what I'm going to do. Sometimes I'm so desperate for these washers, I find one of these with the peg. See, that peg is still good right there. And that does fit. This will fit a Schwinn. Maybe with a little filing. No, it fits. The peg does fit on there. But when I put this on the bike, no. What we do is we cut this with a zip disc and I chuck it up on my lathe and I make it round. I make it round again. It's not a Schwinn part. It's a little thick. But when you're really desperate for these washers with the peg, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. I don't give a hill of beans about putting a reflector on the front of this thing, especially this crude looking huffy department store error thing. This is going to go bye-bye, and I'm going to take this part and spin it down around again and making it really thin, like this other washer should be with the peg. So for now, we're going to put this bad one on. Yeah, I know. That's the way it goes. And we got 2 of these to choose from. I think this one was on the bike originally, but I really like this Schwinn one. It's got a lot of good chrome on it. It's in decent shape. I think I'm going to go with this slightly different one. I just kind of like the way that looks better. Okay. Put a little grease on there. There's plenty of grease in the fork. I can see it. And there's probably plenty on the threads. We're just going to make sure that there is grease on these threads. Grease is your friend. All right, so I'm always touching on this, but say I was having a problem and this was going to cross thread and I was having issues. And what you do is, I don't know if you can hear it, but maybe you can. You go backwards until you hear a click. Press down and go backwards. And you'll hear a click, an audible click. There. And there you go. No problem. Every time, once you hear that click, it's on there. I actually saw somebody building a rocket for NASA and spinning the cone on. And I was thinking to myself, there's no way they know that. I saw this lady spinning this cone on this rocket. I'm trying to get the grease off right now. She was spinning this cone for the top of the rocket. It's like a booster or something. And she was going backwards. And I was like, oh, no way. NASA didn't make left-hand thread, nose cones. What is she doing? She's messing up. I didn't think that they would know the old trick about spinning it backwards. And she was spinning it backwards and talking to some reporter, and you could hear it on the camera. It was like snap, and she was like, okay. And she spun it the other way, and it just went in like gravy. And I was like, wow, okay, girl, you got it going on. Like, you can come work on my bikes anytime. All right, so we wiped off the excess. We're getting some of that excess off. And we know that washer's bad. We're just going to have to deal with it. I'm going to snug it up the best I can right now until I machine that other washer. We're not going to send this home anyway. We're not going to get the final on this. This is just kind of a mock-up. I know I'm getting back into this because of that washer. So we'll just get a loose one. I'll have to hold that with something now because the washer's not doing its thing. It's being washer-like, but it's not. It's the peg isn't there. You know what I mean? So let's get something. Let's get something going on here. And I don't want to scratch anything. I'll use this. This is why I got this here. See, ting. All right, let's put this in here, and I'll just kind of hold this. I really should find a good washer. I'll definitely machine that one tomorrow. I won't be messing around with that. But just for now, in case I do ride it and test it. So I'm trying to hold the fork with my leg as well, down here with my leg. You guys should probably see this technique. Okay. Yeah, all because I don't have a good washer. Okay. How's that feel? Oh, yeah. Okay, we're good. We're good. Yeah, note to self. Go get, I know Fred's like, I got a washer. I'll bring it over. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now, see, we've got enough threads there, but we would also have enough threads for a 5-speed shifter, but that's it. We don't have enough threads for this center pull. And you know why is because Varsity never came with center pull. I don't believe Varsity came with center pull. I think you had to get a Continental to get the center pull. So at the Schwinn factory, every dime counted about tubing length and reusing what leftover tubes they had. Like they had a tubing machine making the fork stays, making the fork middle part, the steer tube. That's it. And so they were making a bunch of tubes for the forks, and they knew, like, oh, Continental gets another 1/4 inch because it has the twin sticks and it has the center pull and the washer. So the Continentals, they get a little more, another couple, 3 or 4 threads maybe. So Varsity wasn't so lucky. Most Varsities were side pull. Maybe some of the sports. There was a sports Varsity with the upright bars. I would have to look at the catalogs. Chime in if you know. Yeah. Did Varsity ever have center pull? Probably not. Okay, so what's next? Let's put the, we're on a roll here with the front area. Let's put the stem in and shine up the bars. And we'll read a few comments real quick. All right, where was I? Yes, I have spray painted bike frames many times. Look at the custom Huffy video. I'm actually making a custom job on that bike. You can see me spraying it. Is it a good job? Probably not. Was the paint decent? Probably not. Okay. Yeah. Midwestern Relics. I've been good. I saw your clunker you made, man. It's awesome. Oh, it's a Hiawatha. That big old frame. It looked like a 40s Schwinn or something, but that's actually a Hiawatha. I didn't really look closely. Did it have at one time, was there a tank on it? It looked like maybe it was a tank bike. Christopher Stapleton. Hey, dude. Ocala in the house. All right. Good bike town. I always say that. Ocala rocks for riding bikes during the right time of year. Let's see. Cleveland Welding Company. Oh, CWC. Yeah. Wow. Man, that's awesome. Larry Brightwell, when did Schwinn change from the four circle chainring to the turbo style? I think you're talking about the front freewheel system bikes, uh, or the let's see, the four or the mag. Yeah, yeah. Are you talking about? You're talking about this being the turbo style, or they had one speeds with this too, like the mag style. That's hard to say. Stingrays definitely went to the mag style, and then the other bikes, the cloverleaf deal. I mean, this was popular for many, many years, way back in the 30s, well, way back in the 40s, and even into the 60s. And then they went to this mag style, and I don't have any up here. It was like some of the Stingrays had it too. It looked kind of like this, but it had like an indent. These were indented a little bit for the bigger style. And oh man, I don't know. If our buddy AZ Sting was chiming in, he'd tell me. Yeah, mag, yeah. I'd have to say 70s, 75. That speedster I was trying to sell, that blue speedster that's still for sale, that has one, and that's a 76. I've seen him a few years. I'm just going to guess and say like 74. They got away from this nice style and went to this kind of like this. Anyway, we're putting this on later in a few minutes. And the reason I'm putting this on is because if I go 6 speed in the back and it's not adequate and I want more, then I can always bolt the Schwinn parts on. I can bolt the stock Schwinn parts on. This will be a good low geared, and I can get my 6 in the back. But if it's not enough, and I really think I'm going to be that buffed, I can put that bigger ring on. It's good to use, and it's kind of a Schwinn part, patented part. Look at that, U.S. patent. U.S. patent number 3477303. Yeah, don't be reusing this because Schwinn will come and get you. All right, let's put the stem in real quick. Quit jabber jawing. This stem is dated 1977, and I'm going to use it because it's in really good shape. It's not quite the right year. In 77, 76, and 77, they had that little doodah action there. The little, I don't know if that's for strength or just style. I do have another one I could use. I'll dig it out real quick, but I think this one's the winner. So let's dig it out and we'll see. Now let's see what we got here. I mean, we are going upright bars. We could use an upright stem. I don't think this nice alloy one would even go in there, would it? No, different diameter. Darn. I've been waiting to use this on a Schwinn bike for like 10 years. I think it's for Japanese Schwinn. Okay, I have another one that's this is correct for Varsity for this year, and it doesn't have the little ridgy poo thing in it, and it is dated looks like 73. So that would be close. But the thing is, I'm running upright bars, so it really doesn't matter. I could use this one, but these are so hard to come by. The correct ones that are for upright, that I think I'm just gonna go with the plan and put this one in because these are so hard to come by when you convert a bike to upright. And it's just these are hard to get. These are really hard to come by nowadays. So I think I'm just gonna chuck this little 77 model in there, even though we are using upright bars. It's something I can change later. The chrome is very good and doesn't need any cleaning. So in it goes. And away we go. This is nice and tight. Feels great. There's already some grease on here. We might want to dab a little in there. I think I already did grease this. It feels a little dry. Okay. Feels a little dry. Dry is not your friend. All right. Who's here? Yeah, Mag. I don't know, Larry. I'm thinking 73 or 4. All right, we're gonna put a little grease in here because grease is your friend. Okay, we're struggling here. Anyway, the history of the Varsity is actually pretty cool. And then they got really like in about 82 or 3, almost all the varsities. Well, they had this emerald green color that was actually pretty cool in 82 and 3. They had this emerald green varsity. You see them up for sale now. Then they have emerald green wrap. It's like this weird, it's not quite opaque green. It's like a darker color. And those are getting hard to find, 81 and 2. And then they got in the mid 80s before they went to Japan, like 83 and 4 and 85 for sure. It was all front freewheel system, which was really lame. I can't stand those. There's a big, I don't have any of these bikes. When I do get them, I convert them back to regular. Anyway, the freewheel is in the cranks. So you never have to glide. You can shift, on the fly, no problem. The back wheel is actually a fixed back wheel with gears. And they were really annoying and they broke. And the extra stress of it being on the cranks, the freewheel built into the cranks, and it was built by Shimano. It was kind of cheap. And one good whack, you fell over, or somebody whacked into your bike, or somebody parked, I don't know, one good side impact of something light like a shopping cart or somebody being a doofus, and it was over. You're walking home, probably carrying your bike home, actually. All right, let's get this in here. All right, so on these, you got to hide this mark, obviously. That has to be hidden. So if you're above that, maybe a little bit's okay, but usually for safety, that needs to be hidden, that little mark. Let's make sure there's plenty of grease on that. And we'll do the right thing and hide it. That's turning out to be a really nice bike. This is probably too nice for me. I feel a little grit down in there. I thought I blew those out pretty good, and I did. Okay, we're not going to put the final whammy on that yet. We'll put the whammy on that in a second. Let's get this. Wow, this rag smells like gasoline. I wonder why. Woo! Leave that out. Oh, there's another one. Okay, that one doesn't smell like gasoline. That's good. All right. I like the chrome on that. That's good. Let's check this bolt. I think I used this when we tested the frame, and I remember complaining about the bolt being dry. No, that's a good bolt. I can see there's some action there. There's some crud in there though. Okay. We're just going to make really sure that that's a good bolt. Put some grease on there. And let's put the bars in real quick. I don't really have a great set right now. And I am going to find a better set. But for right now, we just got to pick one of these two pair. Like I say, this is something I can change later. I think I'm going with, this one's a little bit scarred up on the clamp part, but the chrome is in much better shape. They're about the same bend. Yeah, the chrome on these is in much better shape. I think I'm going to save those for something else, but these are pretty good. Oh, let's do the spider check. We got to We got to blow through there with some compressed air. That looks very suspicious. Yeah, we're gonna blow through there with some. Okay, spider chick. You guys ready? Here we go. Oh yeah. Wow. Man, some gooey stuff came, some little wings and stuff. Okay, here we go. Maybe I'll get this way too. Ready? Oh yeah. Oh, I don't know what was in there. Wow. Some kind of, there's like wings and little looks like pencil shavings or something. Okay, I think that's enough. Yeah, if we do any more, the compressor will come on. Oh, I got it unplugged. That's right. All right, spider check successful. Now we could polish these up a little bit, but let's wait till they're in the. Let's wait till they're in there, and then I can shove my leg in this fork, and then use my leg as leverage and hold it, and like we can shine it up with the steel wool or the aluminum. Looks pretty good. These are not dated. I don't even think they're Schwinn actually. They might be. All right, let's go. Pretty good. Look at that. Let's get that bolt in there real quick like. And this is a nice graded bolt. You can see the 4 marks on it. I don't think that is Schwinn. I'm not sure. I think maybe it is. Maybe Schwinn was grading bolts in 77 for the Varsity. I'm not sure. Anyway, this is a Varsity stem. It's just not for this year. And like I say, this is, this is going to be my bike. This is not going to be for sale, and I'm not going to bring it to Pebble Beach or anything. Not that they do have a category for Schwinn bikes at the Pebble Beach. Maybe they do. You guys ever brought some bikes to Pebble Beach? Oh yeah, all the time. I bring my 61 Varsity 8-speed there. All right, that's good enough for now. These bars aren't too bad. I could take a little steel wool where the grips go. They're not too bad. I think for now we're just going to let them be. I don't want to get all that stuff all over the frame, and they aren't going to hit the frame anyway. And it feels pretty good. Yeah, we're just going to let them be for now. I don't know what I did with the kickstand with this bike. I got to find that. So, but it's not to the point where it's coming off the stand anyway. So let's take this off. I think we're done. We've done anything that would happen there. Let's do a little shining on this and put the brake levers on. That would be a good thing to do. Yeah. Foil. I'm going to use some foil maybe. Maybe put some water on this foil. And this time I won't spit on it. How about that? I'll drink it. All right, we'll put a little water on here. There we go. Who would have thought water and foil cleaning your chrome? It builds up this stuff called aluminum oxide, and you need that. Okay, so there's some rusty stuff right here. You can't really see it. Or you can see here maybe. It's pretty rusty. Let's get you in there before I start it. And you can see the before and after. Hello. You guys see the rust there? It's where the grip would go. It's right there. And there's some on this inside part too. Right here. Yeah, you can really see it there right now. Right here. Anyway, we're going to scrub that with the foil and water, and you're going to be amazed. You're going to say, wow, you should go get a job with that lady at NASA. Yeah. That was pretty cool when she was putting that. I forget what show I was watching. I can't remember what show that was, but she had it going on. She was spinning the rocket cone backwards, and it clicked, and then she was just so nonchalant about it. After that, she was just like, spin, spin. She was being very careful going backwards, but when she heard the click, she was just like, all right, send it home, send it home. You know, he was talking to reporters after that. Okay, so well, good thing I got that there, huh? All right, got some foil. We're chasing the dragon here. Okay, what was that about? All right, keep crunching. You can't see it, but some of that water turned this stuff kind of a gray pasty. And that's what you want. You want that gray pasty stuff. Well, on the bars you do. You don't want it in your lungs or anything. It doesn't look like it's doing much, but it just took that rust completely off that side. And there's some here. I'll get you close on it in a second. See how it's easier to do in the bike? Because you've got all this stuff. You got your knee down here. You know, you can really get the leverage you need. And it's good to set them high so they don't chip the frame. Yeah, we're really worried about that this time. And Schwinn bars, upright bars, like to rust underneath here for some reason. Probably because no one ever cleans it because they don't see it. Okay, let's wipe that off with something. And we'll get you back in here and you can see how we need to get a job at NASA. Yeah, it's like a chemical reaction almost. And the foil is softer than the chrome, so it doesn't scratch it. Yeah, a little tiny bit left there. Let's hit that little spot. Oh, yeah. Go on. See ya. Off to the races. All right, looking good, looking good. Here, I'll get you back in here. So, yeah. It's a little hazy because I need to wipe it off, but we got all that. That's all gone. And that one is pretty much gone as well. That's all that rust is gone. And I think there was a little bit up in there where some handbrakes were. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's not show quality, and these are probably not the bars I'm going to use. They're all scuffed up right here, and they're not quite the suburban bend that I like. They're not quite the fancy. The bars that everybody likes are on the Suburbans and big cruisers, and I don't have any of those. I'd have to take them off a bike, and I'm not going to do that for now anyway. All right, so let's wipe this off a little. Yeah, these are a different bend compared to some of those travelers over there that I've retrofitted. And they are a different bend than the ones I have on my Super Sport. It's a slightly different bend. And yeah, I got some of that goo on there. All right, looking good. Let's put a brake handle on. Okay. Stay. Yeah, these are what we got today. They're little eye pokers. They call these eye pokers. I'll show you one that's a safety. There's a safety and there's an eye poker. What did I do with that? There it is. Bear with me. Yeah, here's a safety ball. I wish I had two of these, actually. This is, I kind of like these better. It gives you a little more grip on your hand. Won't slip off. And this one, the chrome is excellent on the holder. And the aluminum itself is excellent. But I only have one. And this is like a yellow dot. I have two of these eye pokers with rusty. These are kind of rusty. Yeah, I'm just going to use them for now. I mean, this is something I can change later. Okay, let's put them on. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. It popped out. See how that popped out? I got to pop that back in. This is like out a little bit. Come on now. I make the mistakes so you don't have to. Well, we'll save that one for the front. Because it's not cooperating. All right, well, this one's being nice. There's also a little plastic thing in here that kind of wears out and falls away on some bikes, and that's really hard to find. So when you find them and they have that little plastic, it's a piece that keeps this from going back too far. It's nice to have. It's like a little stop. And some of the models didn't have those. It's like a little safety plastic stop. I don't know about the safety ones. Oh yeah, see this? Now it's got it too. Yeah, whenever you see that little oblong hole with the plastic right here, it's right there. Then you know it has that little spring back. It's not a spring, but it helps it stay where it's supposed to be without it going too far out, so you can adjust the cable correctly and you're not losing any cable reach. And you know, it's just a nice thing to have. And a lot of them on older bikes, they've broken out or faded and just turned into dust. And so always check that. And they did make some without that, but they're kind of odd to find those. Okay, let's get a screwdriver and quit yakking and get this on, because we don't care about useless knowledge. We care about stuff getting done, folks. Yeah, I'm definitely going to find some better levers. One that matches that safety. One that matches that safety, the safety dot or whatever they call it. I'm sure someone's screaming at the screen right now. It's not called a safety lever. Those aren't called eye pokers. Well, in my book, in the Stingray crowd, these are called eye pokers. All right, so let's take this grip. We're not going to put this on because I only have one, but we're just measuring where this would be if it was shoved up there. And it's pretty close. This needs to go 1/8 inch that way. I should just rob some black grips and a black seat off of a clunker out of the basement. I think the black would look pretty good with this. Instead of messing around and trying to buy, trying to buy some red grips and messing around and trying to buy a red and white seat, which isn't really going to look, this is more of a tomato orange at this point. I'm thinking black seat, black grips. That'll be on the vote thing. I'll give you guys what to vote for when we get done tonight. We're about an hour in. Oh yeah, we're an hour in. We're all right. Let's read some comments. Hey, we're an hour in and we got an emblem on. We got the wrong stem. We got non-Schwinn bars, and we have one eye poker. Ready to poke your eye. That's why I got these on. All right, what do we got here? Eric Delquist. Years ago in early 2000, there was a bike guy named Bike Man for You. Real name was Bart. Yeah, I think he's still doing it. Yeah, I saw him working on a girl's Schwinn. I think he's still doing it. He sells tools now too. Yeah, I saw him doing he had like a girl's Schwinn he was kind of bringing back. I mean, he had a lot of videos, but the one I liked the best was this really rusty girl's, I think it was a Breeze or a Varsity. Oh. I think Bike Man for You is still around. Okay, let's get this other eye poker on. And we'll try to get this collar back where it goes. I don't know why it popped out. You can see it popped out right there on that side. It's sticking out. And this side is not in. Oh, there we go. a light tap. Okay. This one feels pretty good. Just right to poke your eye. Did you guys see the stuff that came out of these handlebars? That was pretty cool. I'll definitely have to go back and replay that and laugh a little bit because, man, there's some stuff coming out. I mean, who knows? You got stuff laying around, and there's critters out here. There's insects and all kinds of, all kinds of critters. There's the black snake that comes in here in the summer, and I just let them come in. I have no problems. Those black snakes can come in and hang out all they want. Usually when they leave, they got a big lump in their tummy. It's fine with me. Okay, so we're just going to measure. Okay, that's way too close. Let's bring this back as if this grip was on. And we're not putting this grip on, like I told you. We're just kind of measuring it to see where that should be. I think we're pretty safe right there to poke your eye. And the action looks pretty good. Now, I'm not putting the super tighten on this front one. I do want to tighten this back one really good, though. And that's because we're going to put the back brake on. Now, there is a tool for this, and this is not it. And I'll show you another tool that's not it. Yeah, this is not the tool. Someday I'll buy one. Okay, we're not going to mess with that front one too much now. I don't have the front brake set up. I do have this rear brake, and let's get it close. And this is all mocked up because we did test the frame when it was yellow, and we had this on the back. But we had 27-inch wheels on it at that time when I tested it. Just some shop-used crap. One of them even had a big cut in the sidewall. But we just wanted to test the frame. But now I think we're going to put this on. This is the brake I'm going to use. It's a type LS2, LS2.8, I believe. And how they measure that is they measure over and down to the center of this. So over, if you took a square and went over, and then you went down, and that's how they measure it. I mean, we can get more technical that in a second, but that's kind of how they do it. Okay, so we're getting this over here. And I did find, now when we tested the bike when it was yellow, I didn't have the correct ones of these. I had these other crappy ones. And it was okay for a quick test. But I found the right ones. At that time, I had these, which are incorrect. That is incorrect. It's too shallow. It's not enough meat. And then these ones on here are correct for this bike. But these were not. In a pinch, you can use them if you're just testing a frame. Anyway, let's get this on the back here. And we'll be able to tell right away, because that's just a 700C wheel I shoved in there. I'm not going to use that wheel, but it is a wheel that will be similar that we're going to use if we want speeds, and it is 700C. So I'm going to put this in here and make sure that 700C will work for side pull in the back. And we're not running fenders on this, obviously, because fenders are for sissies. Fenders are not for sissies. In fact, nobody's a sissy, okay? Fenders serve a purpose, just not on this bike. Okay, let's look for the elusive 10 millimeter. Look at that, I found it. The ratcheting 10. The struggle is real. All right, let's get this on here. Really nice to have a ratcheting 10. If you don't have a ratcheting 10 millimeter open end box end wrench, well, they don't have a 10 millimeter open end, but I'll show you in a second what I'm talking about. If you don't have one, it's probably a little more useful than the special Park tool that you need to tighten these. It's probably a little more useful. Okay, so right away, I can tell that 700C wheel will work with these brakes. There's plenty of room. I had these on that other bike, and it was the 27, and they were adjusted a little bit higher. So I think 700C. Yeah, this is a 700 by 25C Yukai rim. Now, there's plenty of room here. We can adjust these down where they go. They're up a little too high right now because we were running a 27-inch wheel. If you look back on the testing, I did test this bike just to make sure the frame was good. And these are up more. Now, we're not going to adjust them now, but I am leaving this brake on. And we're going to hook this brake right up. That's what we do. We make the mistakes so you don't have to. I love saying that. All right, so we don't have an aluminum end for this protector. We just took a piece of lamp wire, clear lamp wire, from some lamp cord. And we stripped it off. I just have this around just for that reason. We strip it around. Well, actually, I could repair a lamp later, but we cut a little piece and you strip it off, and you're left with that little clear plastic dealio. And then you take an ice pick or a map divider and you poke it in one edge and round it up a little bit, make that a little bigger of a hole, make that nice. And then quickly, before it shrinks back down, run over to the cable, the offending cable, and see if it'll go on there. And it won't. Oh, it's going. Oh yeah, it's going. Now see, if I hadn't done that with the divider, it wouldn't have went on. Okay, so when that's there, we'll bend that down. It'll look okay until I get some aluminum ones anyway, and you won't be poking yourself. No, that's a little long, but I got that long for a reason, because I don't know if we're going to use different bars. The different bend bars are wider, and they are better. They're over here. I'll show you the difference. Like on this Super Sport, which isn't supposed to have upright bars, by the way. These are different bends. If you hold these bars that are the exact ones put on, these ones on here are a different bend. There's more to them. They rise more there. They rise up. This bend is smaller there. We could even measure it if we really were thinking about it. But there's another inch coming up there. That's another whole inch from here to there. There's another whole inch. So that's why I left the cable long, because I know I'm going to shift over to those bars. I'm not going to keep these like 60s cruiser bars on here. This is just to get it going, but I am going to find some suburban bars, and the bend is longer from here to there. So that means that you're going to need that much more cable. So that's why I did the long cable there. So I might have to change the sheath. I might have to change the gray sheath in the front, you know, from here to there. But if I cut it long enough now, then the gray sheath will be okay. So let's finish cabling this up. I hate to take this part off. Maybe we'll just leave a little one on there. Maybe we'll raise the bars up. Yeah, I hate to ding the frame right now after all that, right? After all that big talk about not dinging the frame. Yeah, maybe we'll tilt those up for a second. I don't know. That's disturbing. It's disturbing. Yeah, we're just gonna pull a fast one here and kind of there. Now there's no way that's gonna hit. Okay, I'm just really concerned. This frame is really looking nice now, and I don't want to chip it. Now that's not the bend I want for later, but for now I can just cable it and it won't. There's no way that's going to chip the frame. Okay, good. Good to know. All right, I got this all kind of pre-done here too. Look at that, saving time for the live feed. Look at that. Well, it helps when you already had this frame as a running bike and we're testing the frame and cranks and everything. So it helps that this is all like here, you know. So in we go. That's good. These are the little Schwinn barrels that come with Varsity and Continental and breezes and anything with gears, really. Okay, so we can't make that fit right now. I can't press that in there. So I'm going to press this and then release it, and it'll go. Now, to get this in here, we'll use the park tool. Where is it? Here it is. Park brake tool number 1. Here we go. All right, so that will compress this enough for me to slide it in here. Now, did I leave enough gray cable? Yes, there's plenty here. That's plenty of cable. I can raise the bars. I can change the bars to the wider ones with the more throw, you know, the suburban bars I was just talking about that are on the Super Sport. And I'll have plenty of room here. So a little bit of extra cable here looks a little goofy, but if you're building your bike and you're going to change it later, leave a little sheath on there. That way I could trim this sheath and then I still got the cable back here. There's plenty of room back here. There's a, you know, most people trim these off like right here, but since I left that extra inch, I've got room to mess with this is what I'm saying. Okay, so we'll pop. Actually, you know what we should do? Oh, we can do that in a minute. Let's pop this on real quick, like. There we go. So that's compressed. We'll adjust those in a moment. So here we go. We've got room now. We're pulling that. Now's the time to check for those barrels. Check that barrel. Check this barrel. Check that this gray part is in the little adjuster. I got about halfway, which is good. And now we've got room to put this in here and pop it up in. Now I'm holding that. Everything's still good. I'm looking. Everything's still good. And we'll pop this off of here. Ow. And it pinched my hand a little bit. Sweet. Here we go. Popped right in. Now, if we had these adjusted right and this adjusted right, we'd actually have brakes. I'm not too worried tonight because this is not the back wheel I'm using, although I am using 700C. So we might as well just adjust these pads just for giggles and maybe even adjust this and spin the wheel and give it a little doodad and see how this looks. You know, with the gray cable. It's a little long. I'll admit it. That's a bit long. It should be a little shorter. But for now, until we get the right bars, we're going to leave that long. We will trim that later. It's a bit long. I'll admit that. It's a little odd. Okay. It's a little loud. Let's see what we got here. Let's see if we can. These are some weird ones. Some weird little brake shoes here. Tell me it's metric. No. Okay, that'll work. All right, we're going to adjust these down because, as I said earlier, we were running 27-inch wheels when we were testing this earlier, and now we are not. We are not going to run 27s. We're going to run 700C of some sort, whether it's 700 by 28 or 700 by 25. Probably the fattest one I can get in here, actually. I am going to take this where Schwinn Varsities really shouldn't go. So, you know, I love it when you go off-roading and somebody that knows about bikes comes by with their really fancy carbon fiber $8,000 frame. You know, I love it when you see those people and are like, what are you doing out here with a Varsity? I'm doing the same thing you're doing, dude. Having fun. Except it didn't cost me 20 grand. Cost me, powder coating and some parts. Okay. Yeah. See, we need to adjust that anyway. And I don't like that. It's a bolt instead of an acorn, and we're going to adjust that anyway. So let's make it right now. I thought I had one somewhere. Darn, I thought I had that all ready to go. I was going to make that right. I had that part out and I was going to switch it over. Oh well, let's put the seat clamp in and let's keep going. I can't find that one little bolt right now. Yeah, there's a little bolt on the brake that I don't like. Oh, here it is. Okay, good. Yep, we'll change it out. I'll show you what I'm talking about. On this brake, there's just a little bolt. There's no chrome acorn like this one. So we're going to steal this one off, even though I think I'm going to be using this for the front. And it has a special little washer. Put this down. And I don't know, it's just nice to have. It's a chrome acorn instead of this, 8mm nut that's sitting here, kind of looking goofy. So let's get an 8mm in the parts tool, and we'll change this bolt out. And at the same time, we'll suck this cable in. Oh, I'm doing this wrong. This needs to go this way. At the same time, I will adjust this cable so I know that it's kind of ready for when I do get the wheel on. And there's a good chance I'll probably be running a 700C. All right, so we can I think we'll just switch the nut, actually. That can stay right there. And we'll just take this. See, that's the one that was on there. I don't really like those for some reason. They catch on you can catch yourself on that. Whereas this little acorn, you won't catch yourself on that. So let's put the acorn on. I know it's just a thing. It doesn't need to happen. Okay, so we'll run this in a little bit, and then we'll pull on this really hard and we'll tighten it down. It's fun. What are we, 2 hours in now? I started at 7:30. It is 9:02. I can't see that. 8:43. Okay, we're doing all right. All right, so we're going to pull this. Before we start pulling, check that fitting there. Check this barrel here. Check that barrel here. Check that adjuster there. And if it's all good, see we really pulled some in there too, didn't we? Yeah, it pulled. Probably too much. All right, so now we even have more cable to deal with. All right, so let's take the brake tool off. We'll give this a few squeezes. Don't chip the frame. Oh yeah, that's tight now. Real tight now. Oh yeah, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Now, I'm not going to go hog wild. I do not have a skewer in this. This wheel is just pressure fitted in here. It's kind of wide. And I don't have a skewer in this to clamp it. But, I can tell you that if I was going to use this wheel, these brakes would be ready to go. No problem. Yeah, I think I'm going to buy some Cool Stop pads for this. There's a company called Cool Stop. And they're really nice, and they're kind of an orangish red too. All right, so we have a back brake, and it's nice. I don't see a problem with that. Let's put the seat post tube in. Now, what I'm going to use I have my choice. I have a small dented stingray post that may not even be Schwinn because this necking looks a little different and it's dented for some reason. That's plan B. I have an aftermarket walled post. This is an aftermarket walled post for Stingray bikes. It's walled number 920. And back in the day, it was $5.30. Sweet. I'm kind of saving that for a Stingray. And then there's this generic, nice and heavy Schwinn Exercycle post. I might change this out later, but I love these because they're numbered. And people are like, why do you have an Exercycle post on your bike? But you can really get this way up. Like if this frame is too small for you, which is slightly for me, you could raise this really far. You could put that right there and it would be fine. But we're not. We're gonna put it there until I find a better post, a chrome one that is maybe one that doesn't have this big notch in it like this one. I would love to use this one, but I'm kind of worried about that damage. I'm a little worried about that. Probably doesn't mean anything, but I don't know. It's just disturbing. All right, so let's put the clamp in. Let's put the clamp on. And we got a pretty good one for that. This is a nice, cleaner than most clamps. We're going to use that. And the bolt is a little sticky, like it needs some grease. So we will put some grease on that. And we're going to run the bolt through and just kind of run the grease through and make sure everything's happy in Denmark or Vienna or wherever you're from. That feels much better now. Just that little bit of grease. It's not gummy anymore. All right, so let's get the 2 screwdrivers and pry this out like we always do. And maybe I can find a screwdriver that actually is strong. All right, this won't work. So we're just gonna pry this out with the screwdrivers like that, and it'll go on without chipping the valuable powder coating on the frame. Now, the bolt always goes out this way. The notches go to the other side. The bolt is always on this side of the bike. That's just how Schwinn did it. You can put it on the other side if you want and be you. Okay, here we go. Okay, no chipping of the powder coat. And there's a fat eighth there. That's what you want to see. That has to be up a little bit. I think we're a little bit too top heavy on that. Okay. That's what you want to see. A fat eighth right there. If it's above it, you're gonna mess up your frame. All right, let's put some grease in there. And we'll pop, let's get this bolt off of the computer. Yeah, let's put some grease down in here. We don't want things seizing up. That's probably plenty. And what post did we say we were going to use? The Exercycle post for now, until I find a suitable replacement. And yes, this is quite heavy. It's quite a heavy post. I'm really second guessing this, but I don't have any choices right now. I don't have any gunmetal stock ones that look decent. And in it goes. We'll figure it out later. In you go. And it should slide in that easy, unless your frame is damaged or you ran this clamp up too far or various other problems. So you'd never get that with the stock height. The stock seat post in this would end right there. They only give you like 9 inches or something. So you'd never even get it that tall. You'd be running the risk of breaking your frame. But this one's way down in there. It's fine. Let's put the bolt in. but it's heavy. And I'm kind of worried about that. Not worried, but it's just kind of like, does it need to be that heavy? No. Could I get the right post? Could I get a better post? Yes, I probably could get a better post. But the chrome is excellent on this. The chrome on extracycle parts is always really good. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to tighten this and then we'll read some more comments. Oh, I just heard a coyote. Okay, this is looking really good. With the cranks on, we'll get a wheel set. We'd be styling. Yeah. Let's read some comments before I have to make like a pumpkin or eat some food. Bike man for you. Oh man, did he retire? Oh man. Dude, that guy was cool. He would sell tools and parts. He would have cone wrenches and he would sell those. He would like say, okay, I'm going to adjust this Schwinn Breeze front hub. You need a 14 cone wrench and you need this. I do have this for sale on my shop. And he would sell the tools needed. He would show you how to use them. And he would sell them too. And that was pretty cool. So let's see. I thought Karmic Patina. I've never heard that person before. Well, welcome to the channel, Karmic Patina. Where are you from? Okay, Dale Quist, I thought Bart retired from doing bikes. I thought retired from... And then someone says, Steve Malone, bike man for you, closed his shop sometime in the teens after his dad died. Ah, he went into the oyster business. What? Wow. Well, maybe his dad had an oyster boat or something. And he, wow. Maybe his dad gave him an oyster boat. Wow, that is weird. I thought Bart retired from doing bikes. Yeah, he did. He could come back though. Yeah, he was the man. I mean, he would break it down. I remember him like doing this wheel thing where, and I remember watching it, like he was always like, all right, just tighten 3 or 4 at a time. Don't go hog wild and get into 8 or 7 or 8 spokes deep. Just tighten 3 or 4 and then spin it and check it and it'll always move. And yeah, I remember when I was when I really needed to know something about truing wheels, I'd tune in and see what he was doing. And problems with the bikes I work on though, when you go to true a wheel, you're just breaking the spoke end because they're so rusty and old. So you think you can do all that cool stuff, but when it comes down to it, you're just breaking spokes. So have lots of spokes handy in your tray. You'll be adjusting a spoke and you'll break it. It's just how old stuff works on bikes, unless you're smart and you put grease on each spoke thread, which I do sometimes when I build some bikes up. Then those never have a problem. It's just, no one ever puts grease on the spoke end and it's 70 years old and you're expecting to turn that and make it do things. Anyway, we got brakes. We got back brakes. And they're good. I mean, I'm stoked about this. This is good. We got back brakes and they're on the money. That wheel isn't skewered in yet. It's just a wheel. It's just sitting there. Okay, let's see. We could put the cranks in. The jury's still out about the cranks. I was thinking about getting a Origin 8 adapter, but I really like the look of this stock. Even though there's going to be some extra holes in it, like I said earlier, I can go to the bigger. If I put this on now, I can go to the bigger one and get 10 speeds, if I really wanted to. So I'm kind of debating on what to do. Okay, so here's the vote. I think I'm going to sign off in about 10 minutes, but here's the next vote. Black grips and black seat. or red and white seat and red grips, or red and white seat and red and white grips. I think I have some white ones somewhere. Anyway, I can snag a red and white S seat off of another bike. I don't really ride that much, and I have some nice white grips somewhere, so that would work. But I don't know about the red and white and the tomato orange. I'm thinking black seat and black grips, and so that's your vote. Black seat and black grips, or red and white seat, white grips, red and white seat, red grips. So is it the S seat with the matching grips, red or white, or is it black and black? I'm leaning towards black because this is kind of a tomato orange bike. Also, I've got some orange tires up here. And oh, they're 27s, darn. Darn. Yeah, those aren't going to be cool. I'm definitely running 700C, so I'll have to order tires. So the first vote is, you don't have a vote about the next live feed. We're working on this. Sorry. It's just the way it is. Till this is done, the next live feed will be this bike. So is it 700C 1 speed or flip-flop hub, or is it 700 speed with gears? And we've got the room on this fork to run a 5-speed paddle. Schwinn, of course. So is it going to be a bike with gears? 700C, of course. Or is it going to be a 1-speed flip-flop or a 1-speed freewheel? So it's 1 speed or 5 or 6. So 5-speed or 1 speed, it's your call. And the seat and grips are your call. Next week's live feed or the videos in between are not your call. Sorry, no vote. Remember, if you see any 1960 to 62 Schwinn Varsities, even if they don't have the 8-speed stuff on them, snap them up. Those things are really getting hard to find. I had a few when I was in the Bay Area, and I sold them like a dumb bunny. And one of them even had the suicide shifter for the top. You would reach down. You'd reach down and mess with this little bar here. I think that was actually a 10-speed. And you'd have to mess with this bar to get these gears here, these gears to change the top derailleur. And they called those suicide shifters because you weren't looking ahead. Your natural tendency was to look down. And I even caught myself a few times on it, looking down to make sure it goes into the top rung. You're looking down, you hear it clunking, especially if you're in one of the lower gears that didn't want to do it right. You had to be in the middle gear. They were sensitive. They were Hurret. They were Hurret, a company in France. Huret. Everything on the bike, I believe, was Hurret Schwinn approved. So it had to be in like third gear in the back, and then you could make that top one work. But you were looking down. You weren't looking at the road. So even with paddle shifters, even with regular shifters, you kind of look down. It's hard to look back when you're changing, but sometimes you even catch yourself looking down at that top 2 gears or 3 gears, when you shouldn't be, when you should be looking at the road. So, but the suicide shifter made it even harder because you were messing with it. Let's put these cranks in. We still got a little time. Look at that. It's only been an hour and a half. It's 9 o'clock. We're doing great. Let's put the cranks in. That's one more thing we don't have to do next time. All right. Let's do it, man. Let's do it. The heck with signing off. We got stuff to do. Okay, these are dated 1965. I don't know why. There's what I have, and they are triangulated. So these were from a 65 Continental Varsity, and they didn't come off of my other bikes. I don't know what's happening. I just know the threads are good in these. All the threads are good. I checked them. And these were on this frame. I did test this frame when it was original yellow paint, and I put these in so we know they're going to work. All right, quit yakking and put this together. All right, peg goes in there. There's the peg. This is right-hand thread. The inner race is always right-hand thread. And we looked at this earlier, and it is slightly worn. It does have some, it has some wear issues, but don't we all? Hey, if I can be building bikes when I'm 90 and letting other people test them, that would be good. Okay, let's get that big spanner wrench again. I should go over to the vise. I think I might have to go over to the vise and do this. Put some rag in there so I don't scar it up. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to go over there in a second. I want this to be tight. You can't just, you can't just go like this and it's okay. You got to really, All right, I'm gonna put you over here. We're gonna put a rag in the vise and we're gonna turn you. And just bear with me for a minute. I'm gonna go right over here to the vise. We're gonna put this in here. And we're gonna tighten the living bejeebies out of it. Actually, welding gloves work really good for soft jaws. Not so great on your welding glove. It's not great for your welding glove. I just said they work great for soft jaws. I didn't say they worked great afterwards for welding. Okay, here we go. All right, that's probably as tight as we're gonna have to go. Thank you, welding glove. Okay, that's on there. You can see I did oomph it. It's tight, and this does have a little wear on it. Not bad though. All right, let's get some grease. Got stuff to do. We're gonna be riding this bike in 10 minutes. If I had a wheel set, I'd keep going. Yeah, I'm pumped about this one. It's in great shape now that it's powder coated, and kind of pumped up about this one. All right, let's get some. I did cheat a little bit before the live feed. I did put these cones in, but sue me. Man, we're running low on grease. I gotta stop building these bikes. That's the problem. And like I said, I don't know what I did with the kickstand on this one. I'm gonna have to look around. I do have some new old stock ones for Varsity, and I can't deal with that right now because I need the number off of the old ones. I need to match that number up with the ones that came off. You know what I mean? I can't just randomly grab a new old stock kickstand and put it in there. I need to know what that number is. And like I said, I took it off in my haste to get this to the powder coaters. And I put it somewhere and I don't know where it's at. And I don't have a list of those numbers. I used to kind of keep track of them, but I can't just tell you off the top of my head what that particular number is. Okay. Yeah. Remember, the chain wheel always goes on the right side of the bike. Don't ask me how I know. In we go, up we go, in we go, through we go. This one goes on. We have the adjuster in our hot little hand, ready to go. I'm gonna slide some of that grease in with it. And now that everything's thoroughly coated in grease, we'll run this backwards to this left-hand thread. I don't know if I adjusted the camera to see this. I will make sure in a minute. Let's just get this kind of on and then I'll mess with the camera. I hope I did. Left hand thread going in nicely. It's nice when the parts are all clean too. Okay, get some of that off. Okay. Oh. Oh, I guess the camera was all right. You guys could kind of see what was going on. All right. I'll wheel you around here. Man, that looks so good. That looks so good, folks. All right, you're good. Get some of this excess stuff off. There's almost no way to put it through there without getting extra grease on the outer part of these cranks. I mean, you have to slide it through unless you take your time and actually like sort it through without it touching the grease, which is almost impossible. There you go. All right, let's get the adjuster and lock for it. And file. I always run the file on these. I just do. This one looks pretty good. In fact, I think I sanded that a little bit. But you can see on this side, it's a little rough where that peg is. And just run it across there a little bit, especially on the peg part. And it's good if you have this on a bench when you're doing it. But this one's not too bad. Yeah, it took a little off. Yeah, shined up that peg a little bit. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. You just want to make sure that's clean and nice. Okay, find the notch on here. There it is. Up we go. Loves your uncle. And there's plenty of grease on here because I've been sliding it and doing stuff. We'll just wipe some of that on there. I probably should make sure there's some of those threads. Yeah, I'm just about out of grease, but what a great bike to run out of grease on and be like looking for another tub. You know, this is good. This would be the bike to be, you know, like, okay, I need another tub of grease. It made it. We got everything we needed out of that tub. Left-hand thread. Yeah, we'll get the final on that in just a second. They're a little noisy. Yeah, they're not perfect. Watch me go surfing. Okay, we're going to loosen them up a little bit. I'm backing off this adjuster a little bit. There's a little bit of play in there. I can feel the lateral play. Let's see what that feels like. Still a little tight. I mean, it's a used set, so it's going to be a little odd to adjust. Got to find its happy home. Yeah, it's a little bitter. Now, if we had the kickstand in here, we could use the kickstand, but we don't have it in. So what we'll do is put this wrench in here. Oh, we need to go the other way. Yeah. Okay. See, that wrench is going to hold it because the kickstand's not in. And we might get another final adjustment on this later. I think we're okay for now. That's a little tight. Yeah, I might adjust that a little bit later. Not bad, though. I don't know what I did with that kickstand. I got to find that kickstand. Okay, we did pretty good. We have well, basically, we made a custom color sport varsity tourist. Basically, we made a 71 Schwinn Sport Varsity. 71 Schwinn Varsity Tourist, because it has these upright bars. This is basically what we made tonight with a custom color. Is that going to hit there now? Woo. Yeah, probably would, wouldn't it? Let's not find out. Yeah. Let's not find out if that'll hit it. I don't want to know. I'm good. We're good. Okay. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so we did pretty good. So your votes are black seat, black grips, red and white S seat, white grips, or the red grips. And I only have one red grip, so that's kind of a bummer. Yeah, and it's kind of off in color anyway. It's kind of a clashy color. Yeah. So black seat, black grips, or red and white S seat, and white grips or red grips. So that's the choice. And you don't get a choice about next week's live feed or the video in between, because we are going to finish this bike. There's no voting on the next. Sorry, you get to vote on the seat. And you could probably vote on the speeds too. 5-speed in the rear with the paddle shifter, or 1-speed flip-flop hub. It's going to be 700C. So yeah, that's your vote. Gears or no gears, black seat, black grips, or the fancy red and white seat, or white grips, red grips. Okay, let's read some comments, and then we'll see what we're going to do next, which is read comments. Let's see. Eric Dalquist. I custom and build lowrider bikes and used bent forks. Awesome, man. Yeah, we used to slap forks together when I was a kid. We'd find a Murray bike and had these, I don't have any forks to show you, but it was hollow. The top of it was hollow, and you could pound another fork into it. So you'd cut off the steer tube, and you take this little chrome piece off of the top of the fork, and you'd pound the other fork into there. And then some kids would have their dads braise them or something. We used to just pound the living heck out of them. And you put like 3 forks together. Like, yeah, it was back when kids didn't have any money. Well, I didn't have any money. I made a few lowriders, yeah. It wasn't really my thing, though. I kind of went into the modifying Schwinn 10 speeds for other uses. I did make a lowrider. What did I make? I put 20-inch cranks in a lime green Continental and put 20-inch wheels on it. And that was pretty cool. It's like a really big frame, 20-inch wheels, 20-inch cranks. And it was coaster brake, of course, because there's no brakes that would reach. And I had a sissy bar. And back then you could have these big bars that went up above the seat. And those were really cool looking. But you'd forget, and you'd go to jump on the bike, and you'd smack your shin on that thing, or you were getting off of it. You'd forget that giant bar was behind you, and you had to lift your leg over the top bar and not hit this sissy bar. So those things were, there's a reason they don't make those on bikes anymore. Yeah, nice color. Sergey Lagonofonov. Nice color. Yeah, it's custom. And you can't get this color from Schwinn. It's in between Somerset orange and, I didn't make a Somerset orange. It's in between opaque red, terracotta, and flamboyant red. It's in between. I was trying to match this Schwinn emblem. I brought the emblem to the powder coaters and I said, just make it this color. And they said, we can get it close, but it's not going to be, this isn't a Schwinn factory, dude. Like they knew right away when they saw the emblem and the frame in the back of the truck. They're like, dude, there's no way. We can't, you're going to have to go back in time to the Schwinn factory. I can't guarantee anything. And I was like, oh, okay, just make it close. So they got it pretty close. Yeah, they did well, man. This is a nice bike. Yep, we're doing well. So I'm glad that I have the options for speeds. I'm thinking about this later. I could always put this other ring on, but I don't really want the top derailleur. I just want 5 or 6. I don't need this. You're never in that top gear anyway, unless you're on the salt flats or you live in Kansas. On a Schwinn 10-speed, you're almost always in this lower gear in the front and, you know, one of the lower gears in the middle, like 1, 2, and 3 in the back, and this lower. You're always in first to third. You just are. Around the mountains around here, you're lucky to get into 4th gear. Dude. Okay, yeah, you got the votes. I'm going to order some cool stop pads. They are orange, and they're really awesome. And since it's a custom bike and no one really cares but me, well, you guys care. That's good. Yeah, so get those votes in. I will probably have a video, you know, during the week. And the only vote you guys have, like I said, is the seat and the speed. So get to voting, and I'll have a little community blip on there. You can vote too. And where is everyone from? Before I go, I need to know worldwide, prestige worldwide, what's happening. I know where Steve's from. I don't know where Eric Dahlquist is from. I don't know where Sergey is from. I know where Larry's from. Look at that. He's number 1. I don't know where Karmic Patina is from. That's a new person. Glad you could tune in. Eric Dahlquist. I'm from South Jersey, Southpaw. Yeah, I'm working over here. I'm working over here. Southpaw. Oh, no, that's Boston. What am I talking about? Yeah, Boston's south of Boston, Southpaw. Sorry, man. I didn't need to compare you to somebody from Boston. All right. Well, in the house from South Jersey, bikes up there, when they sit outside, they get water damage in the tube. Water fills up. And sometimes in the winter, I've bought bikes from the north, you know, like a wholesale deal, or people just give them to me. And I'm always like, hey, where's this bike from? I see a tag on it from, you know, New York or New Jersey. Like, oh, yeah, it came from, you know, upstate New York or something. It's, you know, it's free. I'm like, cool. I start working on it, and there's a big old split. It's usually like in the back here. Like the water fills up and it doesn't get through the grease somehow because it's old yucky grease, and it fills up and then it freezes overnight, and there's this big split like right here. This big giant split. And then you take the forks apart. That's usually where it is, in the steer tube of the forks. It fills up. Like obviously this one is okay, but it fills up, and you take the bike apart and there's this big split like right here to here, just a split from the ice. It fills up, you know, there's a bolt for the fender. It doesn't let much, you know, there's rust and stuff, and that's usually rusted solid anyway. And so the water goes in there, and it just fills up, and it splits. And then you don't see it because it's inside the frame. And so you think the bike's great, and then you start working on it and you feel something kind of funky, you know, and you take the fork off and look at it. And sure enough, freeze damage. It happens. People, they don't think about it. They just leave the bike out over the winter. You know, oh, I leave my car out. Yeah, but your car has antifreeze. Anyway, bikes from the Northeast, man. When you see a sticker on it from some Schwinn dealer that's like above the Mason-Dixon line or somewhere, you know, just anywhere up north, really, check the bike out really carefully. Look behind the seat tube, pull the fork, look for splits right here. Just take it from me. You know, you can fix this problem if it's split out just a little bit. you can pound it in a little and weld it. But when it's down here on this seat tube, woo, you can kiss that one goodbye. Well, you don't have to. You can fix it, but at what cost? Okay. All right, folks. It has been almost 2 hours, and that is about it. Thanks for tuning in. You got your votes coming in. You know what to vote on. I told you what to vote on. And unfortunately, there won't be any votes about what I'm doing. Which bike? It's this bike for a couple more live feeds. So sorry about that. But you do have some votes. So get happy and keep it positive. And just know that all you got to do is go out in your garage and work on your junk, and you'll be doing just fine. And if you don't have any junk, go out and get some junky huffy or something. Just learn about it. Because we're all going to be riding bikes real soon, everybody. All right. Peace out, folks. Okay. Later. Where's the button? There it is.